December 19th, 2019. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 197 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, here in California, we have tribal casinos that are basically full-blown casinos. Yes, they still have to use cards for craps and roulette, but they've got slot machines, and the table games are all like you'd find in Vegas, blackjack and three-card poker.
Cafes, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then we also have what they call card rooms. Generally, they have been around for a while. They've been poker rooms. They cannot offer casino-style gaming like in Vegas. Right. So, and like none of them have slot machines, but they do offer poker, and they do offer some table games, except the card rooms are not allowed to bank those games. They can have no interest in the outcome of these games.
Right. Yeah.
But a lot of the places up in LA, they're dealing real blackjack and three-card poker, all those games. But a player has to act as banker. And I kind of put player in quotes because a lot of times it is these organizations that maybe pay somebody to sit there and be the bank.
The syndicate.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, the syndicate. Yeah. Well, under new proposed rules, all the players at a table at the card rooms would have to be banker when the option came around to them, or they wouldn't be able to play the game. So banker would just rotate, from player to player.
Right.
Right. And if you say, I don't want to bank, well, then you can't play. They kick you off the table.
For the rest of the day? Or?
Well, I guess.
I mean, how does that work? You just go to the next table, play a couple hands till it's your turn.
That's a good question. I'm not sure how that would work. Well, okay.
That would be confusing.
We're kind of jumping the gun here, but I'm not sure what the point of this law is. And it sounds like it's a stupid idea.
Yeah, I think the point, as we discussed earlier, is to put these card rooms out of business.
It could be that maybe some of the tribal casinos are behind the scenes.
Right.
Like they're not, but maybe putting pressure on.
Because a hardcore gambler might go and bank every time it's his turn. Mm-hmm. But like a casual guy, like, a couple guys on their lunch break who want to, go play some blackjack or something, they're not going to want to bank.
No.
Because, somebody could just one-shot them, right? So that guy next to him, they have $100 in their bank.
Yeah, and how much would they have to put up for the bank?
Right.
You can't force somebody to cover all the bets at the table. So if they don't cover all the bets, is it no action for everybody else? It would have to be. That's the way it was when we used to play Pai Gow poker here.
And would they have to have like some dice or something to determine who was first action? I mean, it couldn't be first base all the time.
Right.
And third base, the guy in third base. Well, I've had winning hands all day, but I have never been paid.
That's another good question. I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah. The way that these card rooms actually make money is they charge people like an ante. Sometimes they only charge the person who's acting as bank, an ante. Other places, maybe it's like 25 cents per hand that you play, things like that. Well, anyway, it seems like a stupid idea. These potential new rules were announced just after we released our last episode. And the Bureau of Gambling Control is hearing testimony on the changes. Actually, it was earlier today. I didn't hear what the results were on it. But anyway, just brought it up because it did seem kind of stupid.
I'm just laughing to myself because you said it seems kind of stupid. Mark, it's legislation going through the California legislature. Everything is stupid up there.
I got you.
Sacramento. I'm going to go on record as saying the stupidest place in the world.
Sacramento,
California. And not the people.
No, of course not.
It's just a stupid place because that's where California's seat of government is.
All right. Well, I think we've heard your opinion on California government before, so nothing new here. But anyway, if we find out I think this is just going to go away. It's not even going to be news, but we'll see. So, hey, Mike, you're back from Las Vegas. Tell us about your trip.
Oh, we had a pretty good trip. I mean, the gambling didn't go so well.
No.
Actually, it was fine until the last night.
Oh, really? Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday night. Going into Saturday night, everything was rosy. Mm-hmm. And then it just took a evil turn as usual and ended up being a bad trip gambling wise. But there were a lot of good things that happened. Yeah. They did give me $750 free play, which I wasn't expecting because my host had told me, well, it's the gift wrap up. You're already getting that, you know. But when I checked in, you have $750
that's a
free
nice
play.
surprise.
So that's
Good.
nice. And then they gave me $500 resort
credit like for restaurants and stuff.
Which is nice because I was going to use I did end up using my celebration dinner thing.
Mm-hmm, right. But, that's right. I got to use mine. It's almost the end of the year.
Right. Between the two of them, the $1,000, it covered like all of our food for the whole week.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Good.
A couple of negative things.
All right.
They put me in the Octavius Tower at Caesar's Palace.
The super nice tower?
The super nice tower. Actually, the rooms are great.
Yeah.
The suite is really good, and it's really nice. But it is such a long walk from there to like anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're basically at Bellagio. I mean, I can open the window in the room and, see the craps table at Bellagio. That's how far away it is. It's ridiculous. It's funny because when we ate at the Homestead Steak Place, and when I paid, she said, "Now, what tower are you in?" I said, "Oh, the one that's all the way down there, like on the street next to Bellagio." And she rolled her eyes, and I hear that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
That's what she said. People complaining how they need shuttle service. Another thing, have you ever noticed when you walk down there, before you get to the elevators, it smells like you stuck your head in a barrel full of shrimp?
Well, you're going kind of by their buffet,
it's
right?
By the buffet.
Yeah.
You're right by the buffet. And actually, for people, if you don't know, if you stay in that tower, cut and go by the buffet and circle around, you get to the casino faster.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
than walking the other way.
Yeah, I remember one time, Mike, you actually requested one of the older, crummier rooms just because the elevator took you right down straight into the casino, right by the cashier.
You're right there by the cashier. That's great, but the room is the size of
it's nothing. Yeah, it's
our bathroom at home. Anyway. Yeah, it smelled. My girls kept saying, "Why does it stink here? What is this smell?" I'm like, "Well, that's shrimp from the buffet or all the seafood. It just smelled like seafood there." And the other thing, those elevators. When you come down from your room and you get down to the bottom, the door opens and this demonic woman says, "Casino." It's like
over the speaker in the elevator.
Casino. It's scary. It is absolutely scary. I was telling you, it's like the end of the ride of Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
Oh, the little ghost kind of woman.
The ghost
hurry back.
Yeah.
Hurry back.
It's scary enough you're going to the casino, but then you need this demonic woman. Casino. I mean, seriously, they've got... I mean, there's all kinds of people who do voiceovers and stuff, and they have stars who stay there. Couldn't it be like Mariah Carey saying, "Hey, you're at the casino. Happy holidays." I mean, casino.
She would never stoop to that level, Mike. She would never. No, she'd never go for that.
Seriously, you got to get one of those stars to just secretly, when they're just asking, "Can you count from 1 to 200?" So, 1, 2, so that's their voice when you get to the floor. And then at the end, "Oh, and just say casino for us." It's the scariest voice, Mark. I'm not kidding.
I'll just listen. I must have missed it last time.
Yeah, well, every time just like, casino. The devil's here. I mean, maybe it was just me.
Yeah, are you sure? I don't remember any recording, Mike. Welcome back, Dr. Mike. We've missed you.
Oh, gosh. A few other things. When I was over at Bally's playing, I looked over and it was Jeremy. You remember Jeremy did all the push-ups for us?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He was on the table there. Yeah. Came to get his great gift wrap-up stuff. Mm-hmm. I had a good time talking to him. And played at Planet Hollywood.
Good.
Played at Lacey's table. We talked about her, I think, on a previous episode. And it went pretty good, actually. Actually, I left Planet Hollywood winning. While I was there, Melanie came up to the table. Yeah, and had a good chat with her. We had a good time.
Nice.
She had just missed Lynn, my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, Lynn and the girls were there, and then they walked away, and it wasn't a minute later, Melanie walked up. But they were already out in the strip, and so she just missed them. And I told her, I said, "Well, Lynn wanted to meet you. Maybe Sunday morning, we'll be at Caesars before we leave." Mm-hmm. I don't know if Melanie showed up. I apologize, Melanie. We got up and none of us were feeling that good for whatever reason. And we just got in the car and left. Yeah. Thank God, because the drive back was hellacious.
Oh, yeah. So you think you should have left earlier than you did?
We probably should have left even a little earlier. And we left before 9 a.m.
Yeah.
But, it was icy on the road over the pass.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So it took 7.5 hours instead of 4.5. That was kind of a weird end to the trip. Let's see, what else? Oh, when I was playing in Planet Hollywood, too, there were two guys on the table who asked if I was Dr. Mike. I was like, yeah. And one guy was named RJ and the other guy was Bruce. Bruce I've seen there before. He must be local.
Okay.
Because I've seen him a lot. I don't remember ever seeing RJ before, but real nice guys, and we had a good time playing. They said that they listened to our podcast after listening to the Two Morons.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah, they mentioned us on after we met them.
So they knew them, and then that RJ said, yeah, I started listening. I'm through, so many episodes or something. And I was apologizing for,
of course.
for all of
Good.
those episodes. So when we went to the great gift wrap up, that was good because Lynn had got everything done. I mean,
ahead of time.
Ahead of time. You can do it, at home. You can do your shopping and you can actually print out the paper with the barcodes on it. So you don't even have to go in and look at any of the stuff if you know what you want. You can just take those barcodes and pay.
Good.
So we walked in basically and just walked to the checkout.
Great.
And there was like a 7-star line. There's like 2 people. So we were in and out of there so quick.
Good.
And we were getting our stuff, and the lady, real nice gal, I told Lynn, I said, God, in the past, sometimes we've had people who are so quick and do that. And then other times we've had people who like struggle with it, and you're there for, 20 minutes. And I'm thinking, come on. But anyway, this gal was real quick, real efficient. And she's about halfway through typing up everything. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? Can I change my order? I don't want any of that stuff. Just give me about 2,000 of those little sausages.
Oh yeah, that you brought from last year. I saw them. Those little tiny, like miniature.
Yeah, if you have some points left over, they have a display of things that are like real cheap.
Oh, just to burn your points off.
Just to burn your points off to get it as close to 0 as you can.
Right.
And one of them, these little sausages. I mean, they're not much bigger than my thumb, and they're these little sausages. And you see people, and when you get those, they obviously don't ship it to you. You get it right there. You have to go get in another line, and you see people walking around with these little sausages. And she looked at me like, 2,000 of the sausage?
That's right. He's serious.
But you can burn them with that. You can burn them also with gift cards.
Oh, good. Yeah,
which is what we did.
Yeah,
we
good.
had an
Smart.
extra. We got a few, $25 gift cards. Yep. So anyway, that all worked out really good. I'm sure I'm missing something. Oh, Kelly. I met Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Calls in. Yeah. I was just playing at Caesars, and then all of a sudden she just walked up. I immediately recognized her voice.
Oh, yeah. It's funny how,
And I was like, oh, Kelly. And it was so funny because I was telling her, as we were leaving San Diego, driving to Vegas, it was early afternoon on Friday. Traffic was kind of bad.
Right.
So I got in a carpool lane on 15 there.
Yeah, right.
Heading towards Escondido to kind of avoid a little bit of traffic. And the girls were in the back looking at their phones or whatever. So I put the podcast on, our last podcast. Listening to it. And I was at the part where Kelly was explaining her strategy.
Her roulette system, right? Where she would bet on 25 numbers.
25 numbers, right? Yeah. So I was trying to pay extra attention to listen if she said anything more besides the 25 numbers, like, because I couldn't remember. And as I'm paying so much attention to Kelly, I completely missed the exit to get out of the carpool lane back on the freeway because it ends, right?
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, shoot. And Lynn's like, what? And I'm like, oh, we're going to have to go through Escondido because I caught off. And when I got down there, you know how sometimes there'll be another entrance to the freeway there, right? You just like make a turn and get over. Well, no.
Yeah, because it was a carpool lane exit, right?
Right. There's no entrance there. And so we had to get on the GPS, and it turned out we had to go about 1.5 miles through Escondido, through all these.
This is the first time hearing about this wonderful story. And you're blaming Kelly for this, Dr. Mike?
Yeah, I'm blaming Kelly. Well, she's engaging. I wanted to know her strategy. That's how easily I'm distracted. I'm driving and I'm trying to figure out her roulette strategy. Anyway, we went through the town, and Lynn's like, pay more attention to the drive.
Yeah. Oh, so Lynn says that to you too.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good to know I've got a comrade in arms.
Look, there were no accidents or anything. We just had a little detour, so it took like 15 minutes longer because of that. Anyway, I was telling Kelly that, and I was laughing. I said, "Oh, you're distracting me." But it was nice meeting her and her husband. There were a lot of Rincon people there.
Oh, I know, because I went to Harrah's when you weren't there that Saturday night, and hardly anybody was there, right?
Right,
so,
most of the crafts players. As a matter of fact, at one time at Bally's on the table, there were like 12 of us, and they were all Rincon people. Yeah, some guy came up who wasn't Rincon, and it was his turn to roll, and he had like an immediate out, and everyone's like, oh, I don't trust those Rincon people. But anyway, it was a good trip. Other than, ending up losing, it wasn't and the long ride home.
Yeah, that's
Other
too
than
bad.
that, it wasn't good. Oh, I mentioned we ate at Old Homestead.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Yeah.
The food was good. I thought the food was fine.
Okay.
It's good. The service,
Not so good. That's
yeah,
too
we
bad.
did not have real good service that night. It's funny. They called the room earlier in the day to confirm our reservation.
Okay.
And Lynn talked to him. Yeah, we're going. Okay. And then I said, what'd they say? She says, well, they said you have a 2-hour limit. So after 2 hours, you have to leave the table.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, that's weird. Our reservation was like at 7:30. And towards the end of our time, there weren't that many tables in there. I'm like, well, why would we have to leave? There's no tables here. And then I told her, I said, you should have told them, isn't that restaurant still in the casino? Because if it's in the casino, why would we sit in the restaurant for more than 2 hours? What the hell's wrong with you people?
Who in the world
Who in the world
would spend that much time at a meal
Give
when
us
there's
our
a casino?
Food, let us eat and leave. We've got craps to play. Anyway, yeah, the food was fine. The food was actually really good, and we had a good time. And your sister-in-law and her sister ate with us.
Yeah, good.
And we had a real enjoyable dinner.
Yeah, great.
So,
all right, well, welcome back. While you were gone, I went up to the casino with my son, David, actually a couple times. They have just recently installed stadium gaming up at Harrah's. I think you actually saw it for the first time when you went earlier this week. They put that up so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, by the time, you didn't even see them setting it up, did you? You went on your trip to Vegas and then came back and was up.
Before my trip, the day before that,
they had it curtained off?
That Thursday night, they had it curtained off. And I said, what's that? And they said, we're going to put a new thing in there.
Yeah. Well, my son and I, we enjoyed it very much. You can play craps, baccarat, blackjack, roulette, any combination all at once, just one, whatever. The craps and roulette are automated. The craps is like a bubble craps machine, and then the roulette, is just a wheel that keeps spinning, and the ball goes in. And then the baccarat and blackjack are live dealers.
Right.
You can also play electronic versions of blackjack, but I preferred playing, the live version. There were a couple kinks they were getting through. Obviously, there were some people there, maybe from the manufacturer, kind of helping, explaining. They weren't really training the dealers, but every once in a while, the card reader wouldn't work.
Yeah.
It would come out of the shoe and, wouldn't know. But for the most part, it worked very well and very quickly. So fast, in fact, that you knew what the card was on your screen before the dealer had even flipped it face up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was very efficient.
They must run it over some scan.
Well, it's just as it comes out of the shoe. I think, it's read like that. But at one point, so Dave and I, we were playing craps and blackjack, and we'd kind of go back and forth. And there was a baccarat dealer there who was saying, somebody play baccarat. Nobody's playing baccarat. So he said, okay, let's add baccarat to it. So we were playing craps, baccarat, and blackjack at the same time.
Now, there's 2 games of baccarat. Were you playing both games?
No. There was a red game and a blue game. We were only playing the red game. What's nice is when you pull up the display, like say the baccarat display is your main display. Over on the side, it still shows the other games that you're playing. And there are certain things you can do, like repeat bet. So basically, we always had baccarat in the background, and we could see her deal it. And when it was time for a new game, we just hit our repeat bet button. We wouldn't have to bring that display back up again.
That's nice.
But now this was interesting. We were playing place bets and buy bets on craps. And it turns out that buy bets are what you should bet for 4, 5, 9, and 10.
Okay.
Because the VIG is only collected on wins. And it's based on how much you bet, not how much you win. So it's a better payoff than shoot to win craps.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
For whatever reason, when a place bet number won, the place bet stayed up there. But when a buy bet won, it came down. So we had to, make sure that we kept doing the repeat bet, for craps whenever, that would come up. But no, we had a good time. It got to the point where David said,
I could play that.
I loved it because I turned to David and said, this is so much better than sitting waiting for Dr. Mike to make all his prop bets. And I've got to get my phone out and play Sudoku just so I don't go insane. This way, it's like boom, boom, boom. I couldn't stop for a minute. David finally said, let's take a break. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, for you people with attention deficit disorder, It's wonderful. For people like me who can't figure out one bet at a time, I mean, it'd be a nightmare.
I hope that it catches on. Not a lot of people were playing when we were there to just start it. I think you went the other night, not many too. 18 seats altogether. But we were very engaging and vice versa with the dealers.
Right.
And
they're wearing headsets.
Yes,
dealers have headsets.
Yes, and so they can talk to everybody.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I was kept joking about it last night. He said all dealers should have headsets. In the whole casino, you could hear everything that's going on, right? Because we were quite a ways away at the craps table, and I could hear the dealer talking about, oh, look at this, stuff like that.
And you can tip the dealer straight from your console. And so every once in a while we do that, and they know exactly who tipped. They'd, oh, thank you, and waving at you. So
now let me ask you this: do the machines take free play?
I don't know, and it
was a big controversy last night.
Was it?
Yeah, because they were asking at the craps table, oh, will that take free play? And nobody knew. The pit boss didn't know.
It's funny because when we were driving home, David said, do you think it'll take free play? Because I used all my free play on video poker that night, and I thought, oh gosh, I didn't even think about it.
Right.
I don't see why not, only because it accepted dollar bills and vouchers, just like a regular slot machine, but I don't know for sure.
Because if it took free play, because it's super low, it's $3, right?
$3
blackjack. So you could play $3 blackjack with your free play. That's not bad.
And the rules were good. A lot of times with blackjack, when it's on a display, there's certain things you can't do. Like you could only split once.
Yeah.
Right? There's just, they didn't set it
too hard.
But the blackjack paid 3-2. You could double down on anything, so not too bad.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I just hope that they get some demon dealer with the headphones on. Blackjack. Who wants to play blackjack?
Did you hear that, Mark? No, Mike, I didn't hear anything. Let's go get
it's
our
like the
food.
Commercial for the insurance company, right? Where they're in the corner.
Oh, where they come out like a Field of Dreams where it's real creepy.
Real creepy,
right. You're covered. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first, youcanbetonThat.com, and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, let's move on to some voicemails. First up is Tom.
Hey, guys. This is Tom from Ontario, California. I have been listening to your guys' podcast now for a while, and I really love what you guys have been doing. It's just awesome to hear two good friends just talk about something that they're passionate about, and you guys are very funny. Anyways, I actually had a little story I wanted to tell and see what you guys thought about it. The last couple times I've been up to Vegas, normally we stay at the Luxor, and we would travel between there and probably like the Excalibur, so sometimes we go to other casinos. Anyways, the last few times I've been there, I have always found some machine that someone has left money in. For example, the very last time I went, I believe I was at the Excalibur, I put $20 into a slot machine, and it said I had $63 in there.
Nice.
So I immediately cashed out, and I looked around because at first I thought there was something wrong with the machine. But I even waited there for like 10 to 15 minutes to see if somebody would come by and say, oh, I left my money in the machine or something, but nobody ever came by. The other time, recently, I went a few months later, and the same thing happened, except this time I just noticed there was money left on the machine. I, again, waited for a period of time to see if someone would come by, and when they didn't come by, I don't know if that's considered underhanded or not. It probably is, but I took it. I mean, nobody was coming by to that machine. It was actually pretty dead on that side. But anyways, I just wanted to know how often have you heard of that happening, or does that happen to you guys when you go and gamble? The second thing is, I just had a quick question. I love the game of craps, but I have not really got to play it. I even have been building a craps table of my own just for practice and for fun. But do you have any tips for someone who hasn't been able to play at the table yet? I have played a couple times on the bubble crap machine, but I always wanted to go up to the table, and every time I think about doing that, I get really nervous. Maybe you guys have some tips for a beginner on getting up there and actually getting to play on a table. Anyways, love to listen to you guys, and hope you guys put out more podcasts. Thanks. Have a good night.
We would recommend, if you can find an empty table that has low limits, and that's asking a lot sometimes, but, maybe if you're downtown or something, go up to the table and tell the dealers, look, this is my first time playing live craps. I actually am familiar with a lot of the rules, but I've never played before. If you're kind of upfront with them and saying, okay, this is new for me,
Yes.
then they're, I think, more likely to help you out than if you kind of walk up and don't ask questions or act like you know what you're doing, that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
I think that's way better than walking up and acting like you know what you're doing and then make a faux pas or do something. And the dealers kind of think, what's
because
the deal with this
there are
guy?
little things, even if you've played bubble craps or played online, that's still not, okay, when I'm going to make a place bet, where do I put the chips?
Right.
How do I give them to the dealer? What happens when I cash in? Things like that.
Right.
So they'll help you. Yeah.
They'll help you. Yeah. Especially if go in early in the morning.
Yeah, there you go.
Right. 8:00 in the morning. The tables aren't real crowded and, find a friendly crew. And I think that'd be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as money left in the machine, well, I've had money left in a machine, but it's usually like 3 cents.
Yeah, it's not
11
much,
cents,
yeah.
$40-something.
Some casinos are pretty strict about that's not your money.
Right.
And, it's stealing if you, cash out like that.
right.
So I would recommend, at least, if this happens before, and I know the first time he did it, he didn't even realize there was money on the machine. But if you see a significant amount of money on the machine, maybe call an attendant over and actually call attention to it, or cash it out and just put the slip, next to the machine or something in case the person comes back. But no, yeah, I'm the same way. I've never gone to a machine and seen a ton of money on it.
Usually it's like, somebody left 11 cents on there. Or
right. They didn't care. They don't want to cash out.
They don't
right?
want to cash out. And then I just put my money in and play it,
Yeah.
Well, a lot of times too, like I'll cash out. I've been at a machine where I cashed out and for whatever reason, I've got, 30 cents or something. I just hand the ticket to the guy next to me.
Yeah, right.
Put this in your machine because I don't want to go cash it out,
Exactly. All right, next up is Bill, who you also saw on your trip
I
here.
forgot. I completely forgot about that on my report.
Right.
Yeah, Bill was like on 85% of the tables that I was
That's
on.
probably why he was with you so much.
Yeah, right.
You forgot. That's right.
Yeah, we played quite a bit. He wanted to get to diamond status.
Oh, okay. All
so
right.
his plan, he told me, was to play next to me to encourage him to bet a little more so he could get to diamond status. I'm sure it worked because we
I don't know
played
if I
quite
like
a bit.
hearing that. Well, let's hear from Bill.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Bill calling in from Las Vegas. I had a conference that ended coincidentally just as the Great Gift Wrap-Up began, so I took the opportunity to stay a couple extra days and roll some dice with Dr. Mike. The first night we were at Caesar's Palace. As soon as I got onto the table, however, the minimum raised up to $50, which I've never played at before. But I thought, I came all this way to see Dr. Mike and I wasn't going to get scared off by a high minimum table. So I'm going to give it a chance, play like Mark very conservatively, and hopefully I won't be doing the walk of shame back to the ATM. The table was mostly down and we were losing, but then we rallied. Dr. Mike hit a couple of all talls and all smalls, and then we were able to stay a little bit longer. Wish I had the opportunity to play a little more, but I was exhausted that day, so I headed to bed. The second day started at Bally's, and I wasn't getting anywhere. The table was mostly choppy, up and down. But I was able to play for an hour and a half and walk out with exactly the same amount of money I bought in with. So I'll take it. Free entertainment, right? Later at Planet Hollywood, I was rolling and another listener joined the table, whom I later found out was Melanie from Colorado. I really wanted to come over and say hi, but I had the dice and this was the first real good roll we had in a while. And in any other circumstance, I would have came over and introduced myself, but I had the dice. And Dr. Mike had a scary amount behind for his odds, so I'm sure you understand. We ended up hitting a repeater 4 and a repeater 12 for the table, and the two people next to me who bought in with $2,000 markers each, they were able to buy back their markers and still had the same amount left over, walking away with a big win. Later at Caesar's Palace, I found Dr. Mike on a $50 table, and this time it did not go so well. I ended up having to do the walk of shame. And I made it back to my room, but I guess the combined weight of all the Maker Sours I had during the day finally caught up with me, and I didn't make it back down. I hope that it went well after for you, Dr. Mike. It was a pleasure to meet everyone I heard so much about, to meet Lynn, to meet Elle. You guys are celebrities on the podcast, and some of the nicest, most genuine people I've ever had the privilege of meeting in Las Vegas. That's all I got for now. Today I'm going to change gears, do some touristy things in Las Vegas, maybe check out the aquarium. In total, over the last couple of days, I am down about half buy-in, so later I'll hit the tables and try and get it back. I love the show. You guys do an amazing job, and I look forward to each episode. I'll call in again with an epic story, because one's bound to happen sooner or later. Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, I think Bill had the best role of the trip.
Oh, okay. The one at Planet Hollywood. Good.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was an excellent role.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did repeat several things. He hit the 12, right?
Right.
And then I took it I had $10 on it.
Yeah.
And then I took it to 100.
Oh, okay.
And he actually rolled one more 12.
Oh,
So I needed one 12 to get $4,000.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't get it, but it was exciting. And
Still
he had
a good role, yeah.
He had a great role. Yeah, Melanie won on that. And it's funny because his role ended and then Melanie had to leave. She was meeting a friend.
Oh,
and she was
okay.
kind of in a hurry because she had this thing set up where she was going to meet this person.
Yeah.
So she quickly said goodbye, see you later. And she left. And then Bill comes over. Was that Melanie? I'm like, yeah, I didn't even think about, saying, oh, Bill, this is Melanie.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Melanie.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. This is Melanie from Colorado with a little trip report from Las Vegas. I am back home in Colorado, but the highlight of my trip, absolutely hands down, was rolling dice with Dr. Mike at Planet Hollywood on Saturday night. It was so much fun. So to preface this, earlier in the day, I had run the Santa 5K, which involves running 3 miles downtown with about 5,000 of your closest friends, everyone dressed in a full Santa outfit, including the beard. So I saw on Twitter when I finished the race that Dr. Mike was at Caesar's Palace. So I jumped in a lift from the finish line in my Santa outfit, went to Caesar's Palace, went to the pit, made several laps, couldn't find him. And I mean, I must have looked so weird, really intently looking at everyone shooting craps, trying to make sure I didn't miss Dr. Mike. However, didn't find him, alas. But it was so funny. Here I am in a full head-to-toe Santa outfit. No one blinked. It was hilarious. No one looked at me twice. Grabbed a lift, went back downtown, took a nap, and wouldn't you know it, I found Dr. Mike, thanks to Mark on the Twitter, at Planet Hollywood. Went up to the table, so excited. There was a spot. Somebody moved over so I could stand next to him. Appreciate that. Then I see it's a $25 table. And I mean, I am the lowest of low rollers. So yeah, I was a little bit intimidated. Bought in for $300. The shooters got several points. And Dr. Mike was very helpful in helping me. I really appreciate it. But mostly I just wanted to be there, standing next to one of my 2 favorite podcasters. And a little starstruck. So thanks, Dr. Mike. I mean, I just want to say Dr. Mike is just the kindest, most fun person, and it was really, really fun to get the live version of the podcast, like standing next to Dr. Mike and watching him make all these bets that I don't understand them all, but it was super fun to watch them all. And I believe he hit the repeater bet. I think it was 4-4, so that was super exciting to watch. So thank you, Dr. Mike. Thanks to him, I cashed out, I think, $525, and I've never held a $500 trip before, so I was pretty darn excited. Anyway, met up with multiple friends. I'll call with more Vegas details, but just had to tell you the highlights. So, and I'm sorry, I think I just missed meeting Dr. Mike's wife, Lynn, and so I'll definitely look forward to meeting her next time you guys are in town. All right, take care. Bye.
Funny thing about Melanie, when we were standing there, she was telling me she was going to go meet this friend. Mm-hmm. And then she told me the story about this person. Evidently, some years earlier, she was in Vegas at a bar, a casino bar, probably playing video poker.
Melanie was?
Melanie was.
Okay, uh-huh.
And she met this woman who was sitting next to her, and they started talking, and they kind of hit it off, had, a good conversation. And they kept in touch over years, a several-year period, if I remember correctly, only through texting.
Okay.
They never actually voice talked to each other again.
All right, sure.
But they just texted over several years.
Yeah.
And hadn't seen each other, hadn't talked to each other, just every once in a while would text each other. And this woman lives in Vegas. And so this is who Melanie was going to meet.
Oh, okay.
So she hadn't actually seen or talked to this woman in, I want to say she said it was like 10 years or something. Some long period of time, but she had occasionally texted her. Mm-hmm. And I got the biggest kick out of that because isn't that great that you can meet somebody and not actually see them, but you consider them your friend and then they get together like 10 years later.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah.
Whatever you say.
Well, it's just amazing. It amazes me.
That's the world, sir. That's the 21st century.
No, you think, you'd call or something. I mean, she made it sound like they kept in touch. It's not a casual thing like, they kept in touch.
Yeah, I understand.
About their lives and stuff.
I think I understand the story.
Anyway, it fascinated me.
Right.
I thought about that for several days. I thought, what a great world. What a great people
Yeah,
to do that.
it is
right?
nice that we can
I mean, I don't
communicate.
know that I'm that good a person that I'd stay in touch with.
You're not.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
All right, we're going to hear from Melanie later in the show. All right, next call.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Bruce from Maryland with the Vegas Trip Report. I recently became familiar with your podcast, and as a red chip player, I very much appreciate what you guys do. I've been going to Vegas a couple times a year since 2005, and only recently have taken up a game of craps. I recently returned from a 2.5-day trip to Vegas for some recreational gambling and to meet up with some friends attending a conference there. I stayed at the Excalibur for the first time. The property is a little dated, but the room was clean. No complaints here. I spend so little time in my room that it doesn't make sense for me to stay at one of the high-end properties. I usually stay at Harrah's or Bally's, but I couldn't get a good rate this time, probably due to all the conference attendees in town. I didn't play too much craps on the strips as it was hard finding a $5 game with an open spot, especially after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I did play dollar video poker at Bally's, and while I'm still looking for my first royal, I did hit a couple of 4 of a kind for some nice wins. I spent one day up at Fremont Street. Craps on Fremont Street is a blast. I played at a couple of casinos I have visited before, including the D and the Plaza. After making a couple of passes at the D, I tipped the dealers $1 on a few of the place bets. They were both very appreciative and even more engaging. For me, you always have to go to El Cortez. I really like the $5 game there. The dealers are great. Fellow players are always a lot of fun. As they closed Naked City Pizza at El Cortez, much to my chagrin, I did have to go to Pop-Up Pizza at the Plaza. It was good enough for the afternoon. Anyway, that's about it for now. I really enjoy listening to you guys. Keep up the good work, fellas.
Yeah, even though Planet Hollywood is kind of our go-to place now to play craps, it is hard to beat Fremont Street, for all the craps, all the downtown places. You just go from one to the other.
They're so close.
So close together. A lot of them have 10 times odds or even higher. And generally good crews. So
you don't have to explain that to me, the guy that doesn't want to walk to the room.
That's right. That's right. You can get from Four Queens craps table to the Golden Nugget craps table in less time than walking from your room to the craps table at Caesars.
Oh, definitely. Right. There are a few demons on the way there, too. They're kind of live demons.
Yeah, they might be real, the ones downtown. I don't think that's your imagination, Mike. Yeah. All right. Next up is Andrew.
Hey, guys. I want to give you a quick trip report. I took an MSC cruise a couple months ago and had a little situation at the blackjack table. I was sitting there with a couple other players, and finally another foursome sat down with me. The guy on second base was obviously a newbie. He had I believe it was like a 4 and a 5 showing, so a 9. And the dealer had an 8 or a 9 showing. He got an ace, which gave him 20. And he was almost acting like he was going to hit it. I think he was so new he didn't realize he had 20 and that ace could have been used as 11. So I told him, I said, you got 20, bud. One of the new guys that just sat down and said, hey, you let players play their own hands. And this was against the dealer, 7 or 8. I disagree. I said, if he had a $20 sticking out of his pocket, I'm going to let him know that $20 is going to fall out. I don't know. What do you guys think? I do the right thing, letting him know, hey, you got a 20 here. You better not hit that because maybe you didn't think the ace could have been used as 11. Great show. Let me know what you think. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, this situation doesn't sound like a case where you're telling somebody how to play their hand.
No.
Like, a 14 versus a 6. Should I hit?
Right.
Should I stay? That kind of thing. This is a case where it sounded like it was a new player who really didn't know that he had a very good hand.
Right. He's probably thinking that's a 1 because an ace looks like a 1.
Right, yeah.
And he's thinking, I got 10. I don't see any problem.
So no, I don't see any problem either. And I'm wondering about this other person who said something. Maybe this person didn't understand the situation and thought that Andrew really was trying to give strategy advice.
Right.
But even so, it's not like at a poker table where he said, hey, don't tell him how to play his hand.
Right.
That I can understand. But we're all playing against the dealer. You're just telling a guy, stay on your 20.
Well,
do you want him to take a hit?
No, obviously, see, he wanted him to take a hit because he's been counting cards in the next card's a 10.
Oh.
And, he had 14.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and he's counting cards so precisely, he knew the next one in the deck was a 10.
He wanted him to take that 10 so that he could get the 6 that was coming afterwards.
Now it all makes sense. All right, very good. All right, so on the last episode, we were talking about Pai Gow in Macau, Pai Gow tiles and or Pai Gow poker. Vinny Chen's had returned from Macau. He said he didn't see Pai Gow anywhere, and that kind of surprised us.
Yeah.
Right? Well, Kyle from the Due for a Win podcast, he called in with a little more information because he went to Macau and he actually was able to track it down somewhere. So let's listen.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Kyle from Maryland. I'm a longtime listener, but a first-time caller in the show, though I did get the opportunity to meet Dr. Mike at MGM National Harbor in Maryland about a year and a half ago, and we had a pretty good crap session together. I just wanted to call in to make a couple comments about your last episode to hopefully help some of your listeners out. As Vinny from 7 Out said, there is not a lot of Pai Gow at all in Macau. I was there around a year ago, and the only place that I saw it was at the Diamond Inn, which is a very, very small locals casino on the peninsula. And it was called Pai Kow with a K, K-O-W. So I'm not sure why it was called that instead of with a G, as we see here in the States a bit more often. And I'm frankly not sure why it's as small as it is there it's not huge here in the States, but you'll tend to see at least one table of the tiles and a couple tables of poker, which as far as I know doesn't exist at all in Macau, in most of the casinos in Vegas and Atlantic City. So I'm not sure why that is. If you want to find out more about where the Macau tables are or the craps tables, because as Vinny said, they're not everywhere, though they tend to be in the larger Western casinos, at least in Cotai. You can check out the Maven of Macau website, which I think is a really good resource for finding out about the gambling in Macau. I used it quite a lot when I was planning my trip. And then the last thing I want to say is that you mentioned that someone had issues where the pit said they had to take a bet that was previously lost that they called a push because the gaming commission would get them in trouble. And that was actually happened to Craig and I at Harrah's Atlantic City. It was actually Craig. And yeah, about 10 minutes passed after the hand, which Craig thought he pushed, and they basically said the eye in the sky showed that you lost that hand and you need to give us $25, and if you don't, we're going to get into really big trouble with the gaming commission, and there's just absolutely nothing we can do about this. So, because else we're going to be accused of not running a fair game and we're going to lose our license and all that stuff. So I thought it was pretty crappy, but they insisted that they really had to do it. Their hands were tied. There was just absolutely nothing they could do to help us out because it wasn't up to them. It was up to the gaming commission. So I thought it was pretty crappy. But anyway, you guys are the best gambling-related podcast on the internet, and thank you for all that you do. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thanks.
Well, okay, so if you want to play Pai Gow in Macau, you're going to have to really search for it. So it might be there, tiles only,
You
no
gonna put
poker.
this link up on the
Yeah, I'll put.
show?
So yeah, he recommended the Maven of Macau. So yeah, I'll put that link in the show notes as well. And yeah, that whole thing about you lost that hand 10 minutes ago. You need to.
Well, that may be true where they could get in trouble with the gaming commission. My question to them would be, does the gaming commission go through all the footage?
Well, okay, they don't. But if the company finds it, if this casino actually finds a mistake, okay, I can understand needing to record it, maybe.
Right.
But to actually try to get the money, I don't know. Jurisdictions are different.
Right.
And in fact, let's listen to this next call because, okay, what happened to Kyle and Craig, that was in Atlantic City. So obviously they have their own rules. But listen to something that happened to Brendan when he was in Las Vegas. It's not exactly the same, but I'll show you how we can kind of tie it together here.
Okay.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Brendan from Cleveland, Ohio, checking in. I wanted to share a story about one of my past Vegas trips that I had actually forgot to call in and talk to you guys about. We were walking through the Cromwell, which we enjoy playing at, specifically craps. My girlfriend and I walk up to an empty table, $10 table. We start playing. We go on a nice roll, buy in for about $200, and basically the story was I had about $350, maybe $400 in chips. As I sit down to color up, I'm turning around to collect my drink that I ordered from the server. I turn around and my chips are missing. Apparently what had happened was they changed dealers on the table. The dealer did not know that I was coloring up my chips, and she put all of my chips into the bank. So I, of course, bring that to attention and say, hey, those are my chips. so those don't belong in the bank. They said, do you know how much you had? I said, really, to be honest, no. I did. I think I had around $350. Well, of course, pit boss comes over and he says, all right, well, we're going to have to check the tape. About 15, 20 minutes rolls around. Pit boss comes back. He drops down 4 blacks, 2 greens, and says, does that look about right? Which is about over $100 as to what I had, I believe. But I'm not going to complain, and tip the dealers and walked away. So just wanted to give a hats off to the Cromwell. I think that was very good customer service. But do you guys think I handled that in a good way by letting them count it? Or should I have told them what I thought I had? Want to know you guys' thoughts. And Dr. Mike, I just wanted to call in because I know you always wanted a Clevelander to call in and express their opinion about the Browns. And, well, maybe next year.
Yes, and at the beginning of the season, before the season started, you even said, all this talk about the Browns. The Browns are the Browns. Just wait, you'll see.
Well, everyone's like talking, we're going to make the playoffs. And go, no, they're not. But I will say this. Let me talk about that for just a second. Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback.
Yeah, sure. And nobody's saying he's not.
They're going to have a good team at some point down the road. Okay. It's just not going to be this year and maybe not next year, but at some point they're going to have a good team. The thing that gets me with Baker Mayfield is in that commercial where he brings his girlfriend the Coke and then she asks for a straw. Uh-huh. What stadium has straws?
That's your problem.
Yeah, that's my problem. Yeah. What stadium has straws? I've never been in a stadium where they give you a straw in your soda. I mean, there'd be straws everywhere, right?
Some of those commercials are good. I like the one where he's saying goodbye to all his friends and then he starts cleaning up with the little vacuum.
Shop vac thing.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's a good one. I like him, and they're going to be a good team down the road. I just knew it wasn't going to be this year. I mean, they got a ways to go.
Yeah. So, okay, here's Brendan's case here. So let me tie it back here. Okay, they probably overpaid him, but obviously they must have some discretion. Right. They're not going to get in trouble and lose their license because they gave a player too much money. Right.
Yeah.
At least in this case. Now, Brendan, I don't think you did anything wrong, especially.
I think he handled it perfectly.
Yeah, especially since you really didn't know how much you had.
Well, I mean, unless you were like 100% certain, I wouldn't say a word.
Yeah, right.
If I was 100% certain, like, well, no, I just counted. I got $382.
Yeah,
then I might say something. But if I didn't know for sure, I just say, well, I don't really know for sure, and then see what they gave me. Now, if they gave me something that I knew was like way too low,
sure,
I might
then you
say,
could say,
well, wait a minute, I had more than that.
But okay, it might have been more, maybe $100 more than you had, but it was their mistake.
Right.
And what are you going to do? Oh, I think I had less than that, but I'm not sure.
Right.
Well, what are they going to look at the tapes again?
Right.
No, yeah, that was fine.
No, he did the right thing.
And good for Cromwell for doing that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we don't want Cromwell to lose their license.
Oh my gosh, 100 times odds, all that stuff. Yeah.
All of a sudden, the gaming commission, we saw you paid that guy a little too much.
Only the Cromwell.
We'd like to take your license.
You're
away.
done. You're done.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, next call.
Mark and Dr. Mike, first off, love the show. Thanks so much for your hard work and the time you put into doing this. So I got a side bet question for Mark. I was in Vegas a few months ago and playing high card flush and playing all the bonus spots. Math-wise, I know side bets typically have a high negative EV, but what can I say? The money lost playing side bets hurts way less than the pain I would feel if I missed out on a high-paying winning side bet.
Exactly.
I'm your typical Vegas side bet sucker, right? So anyway, I typically play $10 on each of the high card flush bonus spots. In order to hit the flush bet, I need to get at least a 4-card flush, and even that only pays 1-1. I wasn't having any luck at all during this trip with the bonus bets, and a buddy of mine told me that he heard that the straight flush bet was worth playing, but not the flush bonus bet. I know. It sounds much more ridiculous when I say it out loud. Like I said, Vegas sucker. So I'm sitting at the Mirage, and I decide to bypass the flush bonus and just stick with the straight flush bonus. And wouldn't you know it, the third hand dealt, I get a 6-card flush. It would have paid 100 to 1, so my $10 would have been worth $1,000. So here's my question, Mark. I know you're not a side bet guy, but have you ever hit a hand that would have paid a sizable bonus, but you didn't have the bet? If so, were you able to just put it behind you, or did it gnaw at you? If you've never hit a hand that would have won a big bonus, how how do you think you will respond if it does happen? Just shrug it off? For what it's worth, later that night, I even saw a guy who got dealt a 7-card flush and got paid 300 to 1 on his $10 bet. So even though I'm unlikely to ever get another 6-card flush or even ever see another 7-card flush, I'm back to playing the bonus bets. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays and wishing you a prosperous 2020. Take care.
Let me answer this before you even say a word.
Okay.
Yes, Mark has hit a big hand, but not had the bonus.
No, I've never hit a big hand.
Well, you've hit the bonus on some.
Oh, well, I've hit bonuses, but I've never.
Not like a big one, like 100,000 or something.
But not even 100 to 1. Nothing. Yeah. No, I have never hit one.
I thought I remember once we were at somewhere and you didn't make us. I bet. You said to me, "Oh God, I would have."
Look, there are plenty of times where you've given me grief. Your dad's given me grief.
Right.
Strangers at table have given, dealers have given me grief,
right,
because I didn't have a bet out there that maybe would have paid 25 to 1 or,
Well, I know you've had ones at least 25 or 30.
Well, sure, but I don't consider that big.
Well, okay, but it's still, you missed it and you do not regret it.
Okay.
You do not regret it because your personality is, all
right. But let me say this, okay? Let's say I was Adam Bauer. Yeah. Who, got that 7-card straight flush.
Now, who's Adam Bauer?
All right. He did not have the bet down.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Right.
Now, look, I'm not Mr. Spock.
Yeah.
If that had happened to me, okay, it would gnaw at me. It would.
Really?
Right? Oh, yeah.
So?
Yeah. I mean, I want to say it wouldn't. Because I do, but I mean, how can you not, right? I mean, I'm a human being with emotions. If it was
you
something
are not.
Really big,
you are a human being. You do not have emotions.
Last night at our home game, at our poker home game, I made a bet, and somebody said, the robot bets. So I know what you're saying, but
you are as close to Mr. Spock as you can get.
I'd like to think that it wouldn't affect me, but if it was a real big one, I'd probably dwell on it.
It would kill me.
Getting back,
I'd have a heart attack.
Oh, yeah, I know you would. But see, you'd be making the bets.
I'd have
you're
bet.
going to be making the bets, yeah.
Right.
As far as these high card flush bets go, so your friend said the flush bet isn't worth it, but the straight flush bet, I don't know what that means. One's worth it, one's not. But here's just
That's a subjective thing.
Here's some numbers, all right? Just the flush bet, depending on the pay table, has about a 7.5% house edge. Big, like a lot of side bets. The straight flush bet, it's about 13% house edge, right? So
that's worth it.
Now the flush, you have to have 4 cards to win the flush bet. You only have to have 3 cards to win the straight flush bet.
Right.
But it's still,
and that's probably why he said something.
That might be why he said that. But it's still easier to get a 4-card flush than a 3-card straight flush.
Right.
So there you go.
that's a fine point there that. Somebody who's played cards for a long time understands, but somebody who hasn't probably thinks, "Well, gosh, I only need 3 versus 4."
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what he was talking about. Yeah. Keep making those bets, because seriously, it's like he said. It just hurts a lot more when you...
Well, I'll tell you, psychologically, if you're going to make the bet, make it consistly.
Right.
Or don't make it consistently.
Either make it consistently or don't. If you go back and forth, that's the worst.
Yeah, that's right. Because then you just happen to... You'll win it when you're not on it and vice versa.
Right.
So, all right, let's hear from Melanie again.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Dr. Mike. It's Melanie calling back with a little more of the rest of what I did in Las Vegas. Had several friends in town. Got to meet up with Mark from Houston, watch a little football with him. It was super fun. Got to see his suite at Downtown Grand, and those are really nice. So I would recommend staying there. Ooh, I forgot. I hit a Delt Royal Flush at Main Street Station. So I'm just playing and having a good time. And then all of a sudden my machine locks up, the music starts playing. It was very exciting. It was really exciting because I forgot I had bumped up for a couple of bets from my usual quarters to 50 cents. So that was a big win. Really enjoyed that. I wanted to go to the Banksy exhibit. There's a Banksy exhibit at the Forum Shops. And I had been walking around the strip, tried to find it, couldn't find it. And all of a sudden I was overwhelmed with the need to take a nap, which, hey, if you can take a nap in Las Vegas, you got to seize it. And I knew I'd have a long night. Played at the Cow, loved it, had a really sweet dealer. And I just love the slow pace, the $5 tables, just all the Hawaiians. So if you like a slow-paced, friendly game, the Cow is the place for you. Anyway, 60 degrees, sunny, fabulous trip to Las Vegas. Oh, okay, so I went to the View Bar, played bonus poker. They have that really good progressive there. The View Bar's been updated, so you can watch football on these really clear, good TVs. It was Thursday night, so they had the Thursday night game where the Bears won. They also, it was NFR, so National Finals Rodeo, so got to watch the rodeo on one screen and football on the other. It's almost as good as Red Zone. At the Aria lobby, they have a 15-foot high gingerbread house, complete with gingerbread man, and all of this is made out of true baking materials and candy, and it's really a sight to behold. So very cool. Also, if people are interested in seeing more holiday decor, which I love, the Bellagio with the polar bears and the big horses. It's in the conservatory. It just opened on December 7th, I believe, and it is stunning, beautiful, and very festive. So definitely check that out. Also, the Cosmo, the Boulevard Pool, which is on the 4th floor of the Cosmopolitan, from 3 till I think 11 p.m. every day. They have iced their pool, so you can go up there and ice skate and enjoy hot chocolate and some other really big Christmas trees, some other festive decorations. I did not skate because I don't skate. Gravity and I, sometimes we have a misunderstanding, and I think that would be especially true in Las Vegas. So at Binion's at the Seagull 1941 Cafe, they are having a full Hanukkah meal? Anyway, it looked amazing. So it had like matzo ball soup and liver and onions and all this great stuff. Unfortunately, it doesn't start, I think, until December 22nd. But if you're craving a nice Jewish meal, that looked fantastic. Would have eaten that in a second. One other thing that was really cool, mostly did most of my gambling at Main Street where I stayed. So I went to check out and just kind of offhand stopped at the host desk, which was right next to the checkout. And she had just put up a sign that said going to lunch, and I was running out the door of the airport. I said, hey, did I gamble enough that you could comp my resort fees? She looks at my play, and she calls over to the front desk, comp everything. Could you believe that? So sometimes it works out. That was a real highlight as I ran out the door. All right, guys, I love the show. Keep up the great work. And again, thanks, Dr. Mike, for such a great time at the craps table. It was really a fantastic experience. Bye.
I think when Melanie gets to her 100th Royal Flush, then I'm either going to hit one shortly after that or never hit one.
So it's going to happen right after her 100th.
Yeah.
Or never.
Or never.
Okay. My money's on never.
Yeah. I think it's a safe bet. Because she is the Royal Flush.
I know.
Queen.
And she was dealt a royal.
Yeah, dealt a royal. Oh, he's just dealt another royal.
Didn't have to draw.
What do you think of matzo ball soup?
I don't think I've ever had it.
Really?
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever had it.
It's excellent.
Really good. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have some. You'd like it.
All
You'd
right.
like it.
Okay. A lot of great information there, Melanie. Thanks for all the holiday information that's going on in Vegas right now. All right, next call.
Hi, guys. This is Eric from East Tennessee. My home casino is Cherokee, North Carolina. About an hour and a half drive through the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Kind of a tough casino to get to, tucked away in the hills, but once you get there, really have everything you need. I want to talk about a little trip I took to South Florida during the Thanksgiving holidays. It was the new Seminole Hard Rock Casino down there. Very nice, very up-to-date, brand new. I mean, I think it'd only been open for a couple of weeks. Very disappointed that they did not have table craps. They did have the bubble craps. Just kind of want to know if you guys could talk about the laws and everything, how all these casinos can get all these slot machines, cards, every variety of card game, but so many of them do not have the table craps. Just want to know if you guys could talk about that, and thanks for everything you do, and happy holidays.
All we can say is, so tribes, they negotiate these compacts with the states that they're in, with the state government. And it's a negotiation. It really is. So they come to terms. Why they make certain decisions one way or the other, we can't say. But there's certainly some areas where you can't have full-blown casinos. Well, here even in California, right? We don't really have craps and roulette. It has to be card-based. And other states have similar compacts or different compacts. Everything's different, and they are negotiated. So that's all we can say. We can't explain why.
Right. Why a legislature wants to do one thing,
right?
And some other legislature wants to do another thing.
So, All right. On our last episode, listener Frank called in. He said he was going to Vegas to celebrate a bunch of friends. They were having their 60th birthdays, and they were going to go on a casino crawl.
Yeah.
So he's calling back with an update.
Good. I'm glad because Lynn and I were talking about this. The one guy was going to have a drink and make a bet.
Well, they actually talk about that. Now, I think on the last episode, he said 36.
Right.
He says 34 here in this one, but then, well, I'll talk about it at the end. Let's listen.
All right.
Hello, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Frank from St. Louis with a follow-up on a trip report. We did make all 34 casinos yesterday. It took us about 12 hours by foot. We estimate a little over 13 miles of walking, so more than a half marathon. It was an unbelievable trip. The rules were everybody pitched in money, and we played one bet at each casino. Each person would take turns making the bet. They could choose any game they wanted. Games we played were Asian poker, baccarat, the big wheel, blackjack, casino war, flushes, gone wild. I did some live horse racing, including a harness race where we hit an exacta for $1,500. And mind you, we're only putting in a total as a group of the 9 people for $100. Pai Gow tiles, roulette, slot machines, some video poker, some other games I'm sure that I missed. At the craps table, we were 6 for 6, including full odd. It was a great day, a day that we never could duplicate, actually, so we'll probably never do it again. But for 34 casinos, betting a $100 bet, when we pooled our money at each place, we netted over $2,400. I was thinking we'd go there, maybe lose a couple $100 as a group. Our overall record was 24 wins and 10 losses. And as your listeners know, and we all know, that going 24 and 10 on straight-up bets or bets that even have higher house edges is unbelievable. So it was a great day. The gentleman that was going for 36 beers, he held it back to 18, but he was standing and fully coherent when it was done. So it was a great trip, and thanks for all you do. Bye.
Frank, you sound exhausted. Oh my gosh! But
that's great.
Yeah,
that is a great. I wished I could do something like that. That is a great
Sounds
story.
like they had a blast and they won a significant amount too.
I can't. I have a hard time walking 13 steps. He walked 13 miles.
I know, that's great. But you heard at the end there, he was talking about how the one guy was going to drink 36 drinks. He only had 18. So 36 casinos, 34 casinos, whatever it was. That's a significant trip. So
when you're that tired, you can confuse a few numbers.
Yep.
That's 24 and 10, though.
Oh, I know.
Think about that.
I know.
Oh, my
and,
God.
hitting an exacta. And, that's
a big exacta,
that's a big
too.
One, yeah.
On harness racing, of all things. Harness racing.
There you go.
I don't even know if that's real.
All right. Last call. It's from Kelly.
All right.
Hey, Mark. It's Kelly from Utah. Just wanted to call in and follow up because I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Dr. Mike in Vegas. I saw him at the craps table at Caesars, and we had literally just gotten there. We walked up to the table, and I was pretty sure it was him. So I waited for him because he was trying to buy in, and I know he's got this elaborate betting system. So we were kind of hanging out and waiting to catch a little break. So finally I went up and said hey to him. Talked real briefly. We weren't ready to start playing yet, so I didn't get to play with him. But I am sure that we will actually see you both again in Vegas sometime in the future. So we will look forward to that. I also wanted to let you know, speaking of Caesars, Mark, I went up to Poker Room and I never ended up playing, but they had this game on the board that they had a waiting list for called Big O. And I asked what it was, and the way the lady described it, it sounded like Omaha High-Low, which is my favorite game. And I thought I remembered you saying that you really like that one too. So she said they have it usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays if they can get enough people. So I thought I'd mention that in case there was ever a time when you were not playing craps and wanted to maybe play that instead. And the other thing I wanted to mention is to answer a question about my last call regarding that roulette strategy. Dr. Mike suggested, you play like $2 on one number. So I actually do that. Usually what I do is whatever number hit last, I'll either bet on it if it's not one of my numbers, or I'll put an extra $1 on it if it is. So that does kind of make it more fun. And yes, I do always play the same numbers. I don't really mix it up. So anyway, great to meet Dr. Mike. Hope to see you sometime soon, Mark, and hope you guys enjoy your holidays. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Oh, so you weren't actually able to play with Kelly. She was.
No, she just talked.
Oh, because they had just arrived.
I
okay.
kind of asked, you guys want to play? And it was a $25 table, so
Sure,
I thought maybe she, I didn't want to force them anything. But yeah, we talked for just a brief time.
Okay.
Super nice. Both her and her husband.
Oh,
super
great.
nice.
Good, yeah. And yeah, Big O, Kelly, is Omaha High-Low, except you get 5 cards instead of 4. In regular Omaha High-Low, each player gets 4 down cards. Big O, it's just 5 down cards, and it plays exactly the same. You have to use exactly 2 of your down cards and exactly 3 cards from the board to make your hand. And, there's more cards, so you're going to have higher hands, and it's gaining in popularity. We played at our home game all the time. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's a little more to it. A little more interesting than just Omaha.
There's certainly more combinations.
Right.
I think you really have to look for bigger hands.
Right.
And you can't be playing like deuce 3 hoping to get the low, right?
Because somebody out there's got ace deuce.
Yeah. Hey, for those who have been listening to the Vice Lounge online podcast recently, you know already that Tony is going to be leaving that show. He has decided to step away at the end of this year. And it's amicable. He and Jason are getting along fine. It's just he feels that the time has come where he wants to move on. He's actually going to be doing a new podcast about Michigan constitutional law and that kind of a thing. But he's going to be stepping away. The Vice Lounge Online may continue in some form or another. Jason is still deciding, and he's asking for suggestions. But we just wanted to wish Tony well.
Yeah, who's going to give us legal advice now, Tony?
I don't know. Now, he may still be doing 360 Vegas, with Mark and Karen, so he might be on there, and then maybe we'll get
because when we have legal questions, Tony's our go-to guy.
That's right. And this is going to be our last episode before all the holidays. All the holidays are going to take place before our next show, right? So
all the holidays?
All the holidays.
Easter
I think so, yeah. I'll double check on that. But Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Winter Solstice, Happy New Year. Get them all in there.
Happy New Year's Eve.
Yeah, that's right, because our next episode will actually drop on January 2nd, 2020. So
January 2nd. How are we going to work that?
Well, what? Is that a problem? When are we going to record?
January 1st?
We might have to record tomorrow.
I got some football to watch. Starting on Friday, I think it is.
It might be Saturday, but it's coming up here soon.
It's either Friday or Saturday. I've got a lot of football, and I've got to get all of my pool picks in tonight.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Gosh.
I had to go home late tonight and work on my football picks because they're due tomorrow.
All right. Well, good luck to you, and everybody have a safe holiday.
Yes, have a wonderful holiday and a healthy New Year.
Yes, absolutely. We want to thank some people for some PayPal donations. First of all, recurring donations from Nathan, Brian Dancer, and Brian and Sarah. Thanks very much for those. And also a donation from Wade from North Dakota. Here are 2 donations. Merry Christmas. I'm sure that a couple of pro Chuck-a-Luck players can turn that into well over $1,000. So that's what I'm taking credit for. So thanks very much, Wade.
Yeah, thanks for the $1,000 donation.
That's right. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program that searches through all the raw American TV data. Just go to youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at Facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review on us. We love getting your feedback. Dr. Mike?
I used to always tell you, you would say, why did we do that? Or, that we'd have some regret. We'd be leaving. Why didn't we leave earlier?
Yeah, why did we do that?
Why did we do that? And what would I tell you?
This is what we do.
This is what we do. And I was thinking about that today. This podcast is what we do now.
Well, I think this is a positive thing. I think when it has been said in the past, it's an excuse for horrible behavior. Right. But in this case, I think the podcast is a good thing.
Yeah, this is what we do. We do what we do. And everybody should reflect on that, and they should just continue to do what they do.
Do what they do.
Because there's so many, I can't tell you how many nice people I met.
Yeah.
Just on this last trip.
Yeah.
Right? And it just increases the amount of good people I know. And it makes me feel good because I know so many crappy people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do know what you mean, Dr. Mike.
And then you meet these people and you're nice and we have things in common and we don't really know each other all that well, but I feel like we do.
Sure.
So it's like Melanie, and that's my point I was making about Melanie and her friend.
Yeah.
You know, you may not know each other that well, but you feel like you do and it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So at Christmas time, let's think about that.
Okay.
And let's try and win that $1 million at Rencon.
Oh, I'm not going to be there though, Mike. It's that New Year's Eve. I don't
Then
think
you're
I can...
definitely not winning. Okay. I hate to break that to you,
All right.
but you are definitely not winning.
All right. Well, good luck to you.
I think I'm going to slide your card anyway.
Oh, great. So my name gets called when I'm not there.
Duvall?
Last call.
Last call for Duvall.
Great.
I'm
Thanks.
just going to record it.
Thanks.
We'll have all the craft tables laughing like crazy.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. What? I thought you were talking about how you should be nice and think
Well,
about...
I meant to everybody but you.
Oh, all right. That's fair, I guess. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Oh, sweet mother, I love you, Dr. Mike.